going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
It is in-game live game day on a terrific Thursday. Extra special terrific because football is back. Although we always had the CFL. But we have preseason football. How about that? Scott Wetzel and Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern Time, watching, analyzing the world of sports. Yes, our first preseason game. We got the Hall of Fame game. We got the one baseball game, although a couple from earlier today, one going on. And then we got, a little CFL action today and a WNBA game that has begun about a half hour or so ago. So not a lot of games, but a little bit of everything. Football, basketball, and a little baseball. What's going on, my friend? How are you this Thursday evening?
As I said earlier in the week, Scott, it's always happy hour somewhere. And I posted earlier in the day on X, I do have a somewhat soapbox pet peeve about people saying football is back. It's like, yeah, you know
sorry.
What? So the NFL is back. How about that? The NFL is back.
Yes.
Because there was UFL
throw in there
football.
We had CFL. At least I acknowledge we had CFL.
You did, and I give you credit for that. Right? It's sort of like people say, oh, I'm a big football fan. No, you're not a big football fan. You like betting on the NFL. You watch the NFL. If you're a big football fan, you're watching the Arena League, the CFL, the XFL, right? The UFLs of the world, etc. But all that aside, the NFL is back. And, Scott, the journey to the Super Bowl, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, but every journey begins with the first steps, right? And the first steps is your first preseason game of the year, for better or worse. The only thing is, only bad things can happen in the preseason, right? Players can only get hurt, right? It's not like suddenly players are going to get better. But like you said, not a baseball quiet night because of the trade deadline. But we got the TBT basketball tournament, Scott, which they play for $1 million. It's a really cool tournament. So it's like basically like college alum. So it'll be like a bunch of former Syracuse guys. Their team's called like Boeheim's Army. But you could be a mercenary team as well. And, like Joe Johnson's been in this tournament a lot. And we're down to 3 teams right now. Eberline Drive have advanced to the final. But we got a game coming up. And it's in Wichita, Scott. And the team is the Aftershock. It's basically a bunch of Wichita Shocker type of players.
Okay.
And you don't have to be. Yeah, you don't have to go to the university, but that's generally the theme of this. And they're playing a bunch of D3 dudes. We Are D3 is the name of the team. And they're good, We Are D3. But the Aftershocks are like tournament veterans. They're in this every year, and they have home court advantage. So just quickly, it's going off the board in a couple of minutes. -3.5 for me. Give me the Aftershocks, not even the money line. It's -190. I don't want to dance with that type of price, Scott. So I'm going to go with the Aftershocks, -3.5.
It almost looks like it's a sucker bet. You say you don't have to really go to Wichita State. I wonder, do you really have to be a Division III player, or are there a couple of Division I players or even Division II players that are snuck onto that roster? You know,
no, it's not.
A bad way.
Yeah, it's not. You don't have to say. It's not like the Little League World Series here, Scott. You don't have to swear and show your passport. You know what I mean? About where you played. Because, no, it's bizarro world. Sometimes it'll be like, we haven't had the Michigan-Ohio State crossover. Ohio State have a team, and how lame is this? And I'm a Michigan fan, Scott. Michigan wouldn't approve it, the university. They're like,
really?
No, you can't be called the Maize and Blue, or like in any way can you use our name at all. Like Syracuse are like, yeah, like Boeheim shows up to the games and pulls for them, and he's sitting on the bench sometimes. And, you know what I mean? Like, they make it fun. The Jayhawks have a team. Yeah, Michigan, bunch of white wine, snooty son of a bitches. And I'm an old diehard Wolverine fan, Scott, but they're like, no, we don't want to be part of that tournament. And you're not part of the tournament. It's your former players, right? They just want to make $1 million and play, right? And have fun. And hook up with some former, it's fun, Scott. Hook up with some former teammates from a couple of years ago. We're not talking seniors, bro. They're playing for $1 million, right? Like, these guys can ball, right? So, you hook up with former teammates and you're playing for money. Most of the dudes are playing in Europe, right? So, and not high level Europe, but so they want the money, right? You only got like 5 guys on the team, so you're split, you're getting $200K. And it's really fun, Scott. It's by, what's the money transfer company? Zelle? One of these like money. Yeah. So Zelle, when you win, Scott, the players, they get the money instantly in their phone when they're on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah. So modern era, Scott, right? So they're all got their phones. They're like, yeah, man. And they're holding their phone. Yeah, $200K in my account. And they're all hugging. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun tournament. So that's going on. We have a CFL football game going on. And we're doing the national anthem in the NFL game. And you and I discussed it about the total, Scott. And the public jumped on board. I did a video. We thought it was like 32.5. We said, yeah, that's not going to remain. And I'm seeing 34s out there right now.
Yeah, we said it last night. You hop on it, early if you like the over, because you knew it was just going to go up, because all the stats were going to come out, all the things that we said, in front of everybody, in front of all of, the so-called experts about, how we've had 33 points or more. So I figured it would go up. And that's a little, it's not a 7 or a 10 point spread wise, but, 23-10 is an under, as we said. If you have 33.5 and you're a loser, and it's an over, obviously, if it's 32.5. So there are 23-10 scores out there. They're going to be kicking off here in a little bit. We got our new 5 on the line. We only got 3 entries for you tonight, but I promise from here on out, we'll get you 5. Come hook or crook, we'll get you 5. But the time for a little 5 on the line. Best trends for tonight's games. All right, we'll start with the baseball. We got 3. We're going to use 2 picks out of the one game that's yet to have its first pitch, and that's Seattle and Texas. We'll go with the over. Texas, but on a monster overrun. You see it there. 18-7 now are the Rangers. I mean, they were just an absolute automatic play for 2/3 of our season so far. But in the last 3 weeks, you see it 18-5 over. Seattle is number 3-4 over team in all of baseball. They were number 1 earlier in the week, but they dropped down 1. But still 10 games more overs than unders for Seattle on the season. So let's go with the over 7.5. We're getting a low number at Texas and Seattle later on tonight.
I'm going to be on the Texas. I'm going to be on this game as well tonight, guys. Except, how do we not take the Seattle Mariners? All this talk all the time about the Mariners can't hit and blah blah, but they can pitch. By the way, they're already the number 1 offense in baseball as far as totals are concerned. Or I'm not saying the best offense in baseball, but number 1 team as far as overs are concerned in Major League Baseball. But they bring in Naylor, they bring in Suarez. You got to be kidding me. You could argue that the Mariners are the best team on paper right now. The Tigers went flat. People thought that that Illich would dig deep, and the Tigers, they potentially have money. Tigers, basically didn't do anything. And you look at what the Mariners have done, guys. It's a little pricey here right now. It's -170. The Rangers, of course, we've been talking about the series all week against the Angels in Anaheim. But, sometimes, it's like the best rock songs. Keep it simple, stupid. And we're going to keep it simple, stupid. tonight. How the hell do we not take Suarez to hit a home run in his debut this evening? And I love that this isn't like the NBA in which, a player will get traded. And I'm sure Wetzel will get a kick out of this. Player gets traded in the NBA, Scott. It's like, oh, he'll make his debut in 10 days with the team. He's got to pack up and he's got to do this. It's like a week later. Baseball, it's like, no, you're on the other team now, bro. Like, yeah, with the Blue Jays, Orioles, switch jerseys. Like, you got to go. And,
the very next day. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I love that Suarez and Naylor are both in the lineup tonight for the Mariners.
I like that.
Suarez to hit a home run, Scott, plus 350. I'm taking it.
Yeah, I would do that. Maybe a couple of bases just to protect yourself in case he gets a double. And the number one trend, the Hall of Fame game favorites, 12-3. That's the Detroit Lions, 12-3 last 15 NFL Hall of Fame games. We'll break it all down when we come back.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid on this Thursday evening, Football Thursday. Just to recap our 5 on the line, we had 3 trends for you tonight. 2 in the baseball, 1 in the football. We're going to go with the over 7.5 Texas. I shouldn't say we're going to go with, because they are just trends, as we always kind of emphasize. These are just the best trends. Do what you want with them. It's just kind of curious to see how these trends play out. Over Texas, 7.5 Seattle. Seattle minus the 172 against Texas, as the Mariners are 20-6 their last 26 meetings against the Rangers, including 7-2 this year. And then in the Hall of Fame game, Detroit minus the 120, as Hall of Fame game favorites are 12-3 straight up. Last 15 games, not last 15 years, because you had a couple of games, a couple of years where they didn't have the Hall of Fame game. because of different circumstances. But 12-3 anyway, last 15 games. So not a good start game for the Lions, who I guess fumbled the opening kickoff. So you got the over, like Gabe and I really gave out. That's get off to a pretty good start. Lions in great field position, or Chargers rather in great field position, right?
Yeah, we kick off the season, and the first play of the season results in a challenge and a review, whether it was a turnover or not. Literally. Like the Lions fumbled the kickoff, and it literally was one of those, I don't know, dude, you could call it either way, right? Like it was one of those like very difficult calls. I was like, oh boy, here we go. First play of the season, and we're already into, I don't know, it could be down, it might not be down, but they ended up saying it was down, and then there was a penalty actually. So Trey Lance, Chargers end up with the ball on the Lions like 20 or so. Trey Lance rolls out on his first play under pocket, completes like a nice little 10, 15-yarder, little slant to the tight end. And as I speak, Trey Lance just fumbled the snap, Scott, on the 5-yard line. But it's like never does. It's like second and goal. What are we, second here? Yeah, third down. My bad. So third and goal coming up on like the 5 or 6. So at worst, looks like, Harbaugh might go for it actually here, Scott, too. Like, I understand running the field goal unit out on like a 48-yarder and all right, let's see what we got here. But preseason, first drive of the year, you're gonna kick a field goal from the 5. I'm just throwing it out here right now. It's third and goal from the actually they can get a first down. My bad. They can get the first down, and does it matter? Wow, they get stuffed, Scott. So they ran the ball on third and short. They just needed like 2 to get it to like before the goal line. So we got a fourth down coming up right now. And I'll tell you, Scott, I know this being a Michigan fan, and anyone that knows Harbaugh, not just from Michigan, hell, he lost the Super Bowl because he couldn't score from first and goal from the 5. Remember the San Francisco with Kaepernick, right? And against the Baltimore Ravens, they had first down, Scott, like first and goal from the 4. And it was strange play calls. So he's going for it here. I'm going to say they're going to get stuffed. Harbaugh has a habit of getting stuffed on fourth down.
I'd like to see him throw the ball. Just don't
he
run
does,
up the
and
middle.
it's a touchdown. So we get the early
All
touchdown.
Right. There you go.
Disley,
now look at the over-under. It's already up to 39.5. So Detroit did fumble then? Because I was in a little technical snafu here. So Detroit fumbled.
It was they fumbled the kickoff.
And that's Dan Campbell challenging, right? We talked about that yesterday, about how, this guy's going to take it like it's a Super Bowl. It's a nationally televised game. Right?
I wouldn't want to be the dude that fumbled the opening kickoff and have to go back and face Dan Campbell. Be like, you son of a bitch, we've been in camp for 3 weeks, and that's the first thing you do. It's I would just be.
Yeah. There's the door, brother. Don't even come back to the sidelines. Don't even come back to halftime. There's the door, because you're going to be the first one cut. See you later.
We're not laughing. We're laughing about it now. Yeah. He does it again, then he's got a problem. Then it's like, yo, dude, you got a problem, and we don't trust you. That's the difference, Scott. There's a CFL game going on, and quality of play in the CFL is great. The players played at Tennessee and blah, blah, this and that or whatever. They're all really good. But they'll drop the ball. They'll jump on, they'll take a bad penalty. And I always said, that's why they're in the CFL. The NFL, you just can't get away with making mistakes, Scott. Right? You just can't. There was a quarterback, remember TJ Yates out of North Carolina, just wanted another journeyman type of quarterback. He was on the Houston Texans when Bill O'Brien was the coach. And remember they had just sort of a bunch of TJ Yateses in the world all the time, right, as the quarterbacks, besides Matt Schaub. And Yates told a story about, when he got released, O'Brien told him, he said, listen, TJ, I really like you. He goes, you got an NFL arm, you make the throws. But he goes, an NFL quarterback makes about 65 decisions in a football game. And he goes, you're allowed to make maybe 1-2 mistakes. He goes, you make 5. That's why, that's the difference. But, it sounds like a lot like 5, but out of 65, 70 plays, 5 wrong decisions is the difference of being in the league or not, or being a backup and cashing the check, There's a fine line. That's my point.
Yeah. You always wondered about that, right? Well, why these quarterbacks, and I've said this for many years, why are these quarterbacks so good in college? They're all throwing for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns a game. And then they get to the NFL, and it's like they can't even, hold a cup of coffee. And it's not because their arm strength, I don't think, Gabe. I really don't. I think it's more than just, and it's not because of accuracy either, although that plays a little part in it. I think it's just the decision process, making all the reads. And some quarterbacks, you hate to say it, are just, dumb as a box of rocks, and they can't. And you can get away with that in college because your number one wide receiver half the time is going to be wide open, so you don't have to have checkdowns and second looks and third looks. But in the NFL, you're doing that basically every single game, or every single play, rather. And these quarterbacks just can't compute it. They just can't.
And every DB can close the gap quickly. Every linebacker. Right. You don't have a lot of – you got to process and make the decision quickly. Look at even Josh Allen, who many would argue, after Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league, right? I know Josh Allen hasn't won a Super Bowl, but people he made a lot of mistakes when he was younger. And he said he had to consciously, beat it into his head. Do not do that. It's almost like betting. Do not do that again. Right? Do not do that. Don't, make this throw. Listen, Mayock wasn't a very good GM, obviously, with the Raiders, but he was a good analyst breaking down the draft on TV. And I'll never forget going back here, Scott, he was breaking down Blake Bortles. And people are like, oh, Bortles the next Ben Roethlisberger, this and that. And he went over these interceptions that Bortles threw at UCF. And he said, you can't unteach this. He goes, this guy, if he's doing this and he's throwing picks against Tulane, wait till he gets to the NFL. Mayock was right. One of the few things he's been right about.
Yeah. He had that one little run. They almost got to the Super Bowl, but boy,
it was
that
because
one year.
Of the defense.
The defense in Jacksonville was good, yeah. All right, more coming up in Game Live.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try Blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Her and Howard at the 2-3 are extremely dangerous. But it's playoffs. And it's defense, and it's rebounding. You know the game. Offense exciting. Defense wins games. Rebounds win championships. Well, they got BG and Brianna Jones at that 4-5 combination.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Tiger used to really annoy me because all he did was win, and I was like, gosh, I just want to see some drama. I want to see Phil challenge him. I want to see some magic down the stretch and have Tiger pull it out in miracle-like fashion, like Rory just did at the Masters, when something is really compelling like that. Scotty sucks the drama right out of the golf tournament as well. He just doesn't do it with all the panache.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
I like Payton. I like Jeremy Payton. I think he's a nice player, but really, look at this offense. You're shocked that they win games 2-1. I mean, they're an under machine. Solid pitching, even though heck, their staff's on the injured list still. The bullpen's solid, and they can't hit a lick. They average what? It seems like they average 3 runs a game. But somehow they run off 10 in a row. They're 10 games under, and then they're 20 games over 500. How does this team do it? That's just in them, though.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live continues. I am Gabriel Morency, and as I stated earlier, it's always happy hour somewhere, right? There's always a game going on, and people say, oh, it's a slow day because there's not this or there's not that, but it's actually quite a bit going on right now. We've got the NFL Hall of Fame game has begun. The Chargers are on the board early, and the Chargers look good early in this game, but one thing I'll caution people about the Hall of Fame game, The preseason is a different entity on a weekly basis in the NFL. Like, really, like the Hall of Fame game is kind of a scrimmage. The first games, like there's a method to the madness, and some coaches will take the second game serious. So there used to be 4, now there's 3. So the pattern's a little bit different now, where the second game becomes the real game for teams. So every week is a little bit different. But what happens in the first quarter really won't, unless your team is up by 21 in one of these Hall of Fame games, don't get too excited. Like if you're like, oh, the Chargers are looking great right now, they're flying around. Yeah, the same guys that are flying around right now aren't going to be on the field in about 10 minutes. Right? So as we go on, you know what I mean, Scott?
Brothers will be on the field.
Yeah, you know what I mean, Scott? No, it's true. You get oh man, Chargers are buzzing. They're looking good. Yeah, okay, the starting unit's buzzing right now, Scott. They're looking good. Let's talk in 2 hours when DJU's out there in the fourth quarter, and it's a 13-13 game or whatever. All right, so...
And the other thing is, first half lines aren't a bad. I don't generally play first half lines. I don't generally play first 5 innings in baseball, which I probably should a little bit more. But first half lines in preseason games might be the way to go. That's where you're going to get your so-called starters.
Yes, and no,
they'll play maybe a quarter.
You know what? Because I think tonight is a good example. I wouldn't have a problem with this. I don't know how you feel about Trey Lance, but as we stated, listen, he was the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Right? He does have talent, right? So it's not, and he's had a really good camp, Scott. Word is, that's why Heineke's not playing. They're like, no, we don't want to get Heineke hurt because we're going to trade him. We'll trade Heineke to a team that's hard up for a quarterback, and we're going to make Trey Lance. Charger beat reporters, Charger Nation, etc. There's a buzz that Trey Lance has actually won the second string job here. I know we're early, but he looked good on the first drive. So I'm not surprised about that. But my play against the Chargers was almost a pick on DJU here, Scott, right? Who I was a big fan of before, but is he going to be one of these weird players, bro, that, okay, he's kind of struggled in college, he lost his job and this and that, but suddenly he's good in the NFL, and it's like, whoa, this is what we sort of expected. You never really know. Right? In the NFL in the preseason, there's always going to be a rookie quarterback, a couple of rookie quarterbacks that you didn't think were going to do really well, and then they do really well. And there's guys that you think, oh, this guy should really do well. Oh, he's going to get a big this name or that name, and they blow up. But as far as the first half stuff, as Scott brought up, is the problem is people will overreact to this. It's almost the equivalency of the starting pitching in baseball. We were having this debate earlier in the week about, do people put too much emphasis on the starting pitcher in baseball when even the best pitchers, literally the best guys seem to go 6, right? I mean, it's a great start if you go 5 and you're on record for the decision in the modern era. People don't talk about the bullpens, right? This guy's starting pitching, and that's always the starting point for the handicap often, and that could be a mistake. And often, I'll tell you guys right now, I've been betting the preseason a long time, and I've seen it a million times. People think, oh, Tom Brady's playing in the first half, or Tom Brady's starting, or in the modern era, this guy, that guy is starting. Okay, maybe they go down the field and they score a touchdown, and then they get taken out of the game. So you're paying this price in the first half, of -6 or something like that, because, the starter is Josh Allen is starting or whatnot. How long is Josh Allen going to play? And then you're actually overpaying for it. So I like to go contrarian, actually, when there's the starting, especially if it's a star starting quarterback, right? It's all right, Josh Allen's starting, and I'm a Bills fan, as you guys know, but Josh Allen's starting. And then everybody, a lot of casuals will sort of think, well, you know what, man, I got Josh Allen starting, and, man, they're going to be good in the first half. It's yeah, Josh Allen's starting, it'll play a drive. Right, and sometimes it backfires. I remember years ago we bet way too much money on a preseason game, and it was like a hurricane in Foxborough, and Tom Brady started, and I said, so what? Watch, they're way overpriced. They're favorable 8 now because Brady's starting. Brady threw a pick 6 on the first play of the game, but he got so mad he demanded to stay in the game, and he started scoring after.
if I have to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Like, just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus, you got some guys at utility. Plus, you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. The numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, who says it's a slow day? We got a CFL game. We've got NFL preseason going on. The Detroit Lions playing like the old school Detroit Lions, in which they fumbled the opening kickoff of the game. The Chargers punched it in for a touchdown. So we got a 7-0 game. Still 7.5 left in the first quarter, guys, right now in Canton. A little breezy. They've been talking about rain, but it just sort of looks like one of these like cloudy type of nights. All right, we're having some issues with Scott in Studio 34 right now, but Rob Donaldson's ready to step up and do this thing. The Major League Baseball trade deadline was quite the flurry of activity today. You know what I mean? Every time I hit refresh, I was like, oh. And you notice, Rob, and good to talk to you, but me and Scott were talking about this earlier in the week, and we were saying about how people overrate starting pitching in baseball from a handicap, or at least the general public will, I think. We talked about the importance of bullpens. And you saw with the trade deadline, that's what the contending teams wanted, right? You got help? You got bullpen help for me? You got someone that can help me, from the 7th to 9th inning? That was really at a premium. And then, the team is playing tonight, which I look forward to your take on the ball game. The Seattle Mariners said, all right, enough is enough, right? This has been for forever. The owner, they're always close. They never spend the money. It's been a couple of years where it's like, guys, this pitching is over the top good. We should be hitting better, but we're not. Now they bring in the bats again. They bring in Naylor. They bring in Suarez. You got Kyle Raleigh. You got Rodriguez here. You got the arms there. Hard not to get excited about what's going on in the Pacific Northwest suddenly.
Yeah, and the Mariners over the past few trade deadlines, they did make a move for Randy Arozarena, but it always felt like they were being half measures. And sometimes you can pin the front office for not wanting to actually pay these players, their contract and their salaries to make a push. Certainly, but not this trade cycle. They actually went for it. They got the bats. They have the arms. They made the necessary moves with what they actually already had in place to fill out like a World Series-esque roster. And I think also in that same division, the Rangers kind of similarly took that kind of approach. And I think there's a lot of decent teams that got a lot better at this trade deadline.
How about this, guys, to put it in perspective? So Cal Raleigh's got 41 home runs this year. Suarez has 36. The Mariners are only the second team in Major League Baseball history to enter the month of August with 2 players on their team with 35-plus home runs. the only other team to ever do this. Pretty good company to be with. The 1961 Yankees, Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the Mariners go from, they can't hit to, well, you know what? They'd have two dudes that have done something. Yeah, that hasn't happened since 1961. So you know this ballpark's going to be fired up tonight. They're 70-cent favorites right now over a Ranger team that was just in Los Angeles / Orange County this week against the Angels. What are your thoughts on this game tonight, Rob?
Yeah, and also what we're kind of not talking about in all this equation, and it's going to factor in tonight, Julio Rodriguez has not really found his stride this season at pretty much any point. He's had 3-week stretches a couple different times, but for the most part, he's been a dormant bat. Well, now he's guaranteed to see pitches between Cal Raleigh and Eugenio Suarez, because I think you can't pitch around him. There's too many dangerous guys in this lineup surrounding his spot in the batting order, and I think that's going to free him up. And when you are talking about this offense, when you are talking about the juice in the building that might actually be there tonight because they created a believer at this deadline, I think through the first 5 frames, we're going to see some bombs early, maybe just guys getting on base and roping them in. But I think the Mariners on the run line through the first 5 innings is one of my favorite bets on the board here.
What are your thoughts on Kumar Rocker, who obviously was a big-time NCAA star, had some injury problems, has taken him a little while to get it going, but he has gotten it going a little bit. Good, not great. What are your thoughts on the pitching matchup tonight with Rocker and Kirby?
Yeah, Rocker's a guy that once he gets kind of through that second or third time through the order, that's where the runs start to pour in. He's actually very sharp on the front end, but I think when you are talking about the Mariners and just their approach and the bats they're going to have right out the gate, maybe that actually throws Kumar Rocker through a twist in the early goings here, and that's why I really do like the Mariners kind of jumping on him and staying on him until he's out of the game, maybe by the 3rd or 4th inning. George Kirby has his own issues with the hard hits being allowed, but at the same time, the strikeouts are there, and I do feel like, again, he's going to be able to feed off that building here tonight.
Player props. You going to play any player props tonight, Rob? I'm going to play the public square play of the night, although, as Krusty the Clown said, the public isn't always wrong, right? So, but you got Suarez. It's, you know what, at plus 350, it's enough. Like, if it was plus 225 or something stupid, like Ohtani numbers or somebody's low home run props, but plus 350 tonight, that's enough to intrigue me this evening. So Naylor is in the lineup. Suarez is in the lineup. Is this a night that, listen, you're getting with Rodriguez plus 475 for him to go deep? Maybe he steps up tonight. Any player props for you as far as the Mariners offense is concerned? And we got a touchdown for the Chargers right now. It was nearly a pick six. Nearly a pick six. It was returned to like the 2-yard line, and now they just punched it in from the 2 to take a 13-0 lead, extra point pending. Quick check right now, guys. In-game total is 43.5, and the Chargers are now laying 12.5 in this football game. Any thoughts on the football game? Did you play the game, Rob?
Well, you know, what I know about these preseason games is that the NFL is deficient when it comes to offensive linemen. And if you can put a mobile quarterback in the 2 or 3 deeps behind those guys to get out and extend plays rather than just get smoked down the pocket every single time, you're going to have an advantage. And that's why Trey Lance balled out last preseason. I mean, the guy threw for like 200 yards in all 3 games that he played in the preseason last year. And I do think that what we're going to see here tonight, especially with an early lead, is the Chargers just continuing to pour it on.
You know what? It's 43.5 right now, which is high, right, for the Hall of Fame game. But we've talked about it throughout the week. The last 3 Hall of Fame games have all had 37 or more points in them. And I don't think that Campbell and the Lions' personality is the type to just roll over, actually. Right? I think he'll be mad. They'll be like, son of a bitch, we're down 14-0. Oh, okay. Like, now, I'm not saying he's telling Jared Goff to take his street clothes off, right? But I can see a little bit on the sidelines. Hey, guys, this is embarrassing. I don't mind, you don't mind losing, but this we're down 14-0 right now. And Harbaugh's all fired up, Rob. Harbaugh's like, he thinks it's the Rose Bowl against Alabama. He's like, yeah. He's like, so I'm going to throw it out there. Maybe I'm crazy or stupid, but Lions are plus 12.5. It seems a little high. 1 score and they're back in this thing. So they're plus 12.5, and the in-game total just fell to 41.5. And I think we probably do get to 42, guys. as I said earlier in the week, there's just too much speed on the field in the modern NFL. That's why these games are going over now. All right, Rob, so your play, Mariners first 5 for you, right? That's where your bread and butter is with this game tonight?
Yeah, and I think it's just, again, kind of feeding off the juice, both from the George Kirby perspective of being able to go out there for maybe 5, 6, or even 7 frames and limiting the damage to 2 earned runs or less. I think that's the magic number, because I think the Mariners are going to be able to get to Kumar Rocker, whether it's, maybe in the 3rd or 4th inning potentially, but I think with just the juice again there and so many bats in order that are hitting the ball hard, and everybody's just kind of excited about the anticipation of Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor being featured with Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, and the rest of these guys, I think they're going to have runs early. And so I do love that run line through the first 5 frames.
Rob, where can people find you online?
Yep, just Twitter/X at RobDFB would be the best way to kind of keep in touch with my Major League Baseball bets.
All right, great stuff, Rob. Thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Yeah, best of luck, my man.
There's Rob Donaldson with us. Fun stuff with Rob. And, man, yeah, it was quite the day today with Major League Baseball, right? There's a flurry of activity. I like to see, compared to past years, how many deals were made, but So how about San Diego? San Diego sending a message. I don't think people pay attention to San Diego enough. I know as a Dodger fan, they're not easy to deal with.
5 to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer. You're not a Hall of Famer. I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus you got some guys at utility. Plus you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. The numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. Game day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1. Thanks to Rob Donaldson. Rob and Gabe taking control of that as I look at the screen here and figure out a couple of things, including I heard you talk about the Lions game. I agree. A little surprised they started Kyle Allen tonight. On the depth chart, Hendon Hooker's 2, Allen is 3, but for whatever reason they started Allen. I really want to see how Hooker plays. They're down 14-0. They're getting 10.5. They are driving. I see they got it at the Charger 23-yard line. I'm seeing still 10.5. A little surprised about that.
I took it, Scott.
Yeah.
I got 11.5 when I clicked it. It was too much. Don't you
Okay.
think, for a preseason game? They're not going
Yeah.
to quit. Like, Campbell's going to say, like, hey, wake the F up. Like, it's not about winning. It's just about wake up, guys. Like, come on, what are we doing here? And that type of pointage, Scott, it's a lot of points. And I think it's on pace. Like I said, 41.5. Man, imagine if the Lions punch it in here, man. We might be at 21 already. I think we got some points in this football game coming, I think.
Yeah. If this was just a regular season, preseason, or a regular season, if this was just a regular preseason game, maybe not. But one thing about Campbell, he gets into the NFL, the history, the goofiness, and this, and that. It's the Hall of Fame game. They got a sold-out crowd, nationally televised, right? I mean, he doesn't want to have his team get smashed 30-0. So I do think plus the 10.5 is a halfway decent play. I see they turned it over, so I guess they either threw an interception or
You
they
got to be
missed a
kidding me.
field
I
goal.
see, Kyle Allen just threw an interception in the end zone.
Oh,
Dear
he
God.
sucks.
Terrible
He
interception, too. I would say this, though, Scott. You're right. It's a surprise that Allen started against Hooker. Hooker was, I don't know if something, who knows? Something happened. Was he late? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, did something happen along the way? But I tell you what, I would rather have Hooker in the second half than Allen in the second half down with my plus 11.5. Hooker can run around a little bit. He's not a mobile quarterback per se, but he can buy a little bit more time than Allen. Allen looks bad tonight, man. Near pick 6 earlier, Scott. You saw they returned it to the 2, and just a lazy out like that the DB was sitting on. This pass into the end zone was just a lazy lob into the end zone. This has ramifications, this stuff. Like, everyone thinks, oh, ha, ha, ha. This is the type of stuff, Scott, where the GM of the Lions starts thinking, maybe I need Heineke as my backup. Like, I don't know, I don't know if Kyle Allen's the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these games matter. This is like they don't get a lot of chance to play, Scott, these backup quarterbacks. They can't just be terrible like this.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if they want to be on a roster, maybe it's, they have the 4 preseason games. Obviously, this is an extra one. It's not one of their 3. So maybe they, said, all right, you know what, Allen, you're the veteran. So we'll let you start the first one. Hooker, you start the second one. Then back to Allen for third. Then Hooker for the fourth one. Maybe something along those lines. Get the veteran in there with less practice experience. But
now 3,
so far,
right?
so good.
And now only 3 preseason games. And the thing is, guys, if you play well in the preseason as an NFL backup, one of these dudes, that's your career. That's your career. Chase Daniel, Scott, made
and make a good living.
$38 million, bro, in his life.
Yeah.
He's like a Powerball winner. $38 million by playing well a couple of times a year in the preseason and saying, I still got it. I can complete a pass for you. That's all you got to do. And you're still in the league. That's all you got to do.
And those guys hope the last thing they want to do is play in the regular season because then they get exposed for being awful.
Yes.
You know what? Don't get hurt. Go, I don't want to play. No, I'm fine holding the clipboard. Yeah, you think I'm good? Good. Absolutely.
What better
You
job
can
than being
start right there.
Mahomes' backup in KC? All right, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
you call in the plays. All right, Pat, great job. /15, 17. You get your rings, you go to the Christmas party, and you cash your $1.8 million a year check as the backup.
Right. Not get hurt, not get beat up. You're still wearing the red jersey in practice as you run the other team's drills. But yeah,
I've always
listen,
said that, Scott. The backup quarterback's always the most popular guy in town until he's the starting quarterback, right? Like you said, like they're exposed. I remember Frank Reich. Frank Reich with the big comeback with the Bills. People actually were like, Kelly's kind of, Kelly this, Kelly that. Start Frank Reich. Kelly got hurt, and when Frank Reich had to start for real, there weren't no 35-3 comebacks, Scott. Like, it was more reality.
You see it all the time in the NFL. Guy
Scott
gets hurt
Mitchell,
in the
your
second
guy
quarter.
in Miami. You're a Dolphin fan. Scott Mitchell, back up with Marino.
Yep. Yeah, had his one good year, I think, with Miami. Went to Detroit, may have had one good year, and then basically fell off the face of the earth.
I made a lot of money.
Subs that come in, they play well.
I'm thinking, how many? Tom Brady was a backup, but he was young. There's the exceptions of the backup quarterback that becomes the guy. But at the same point in time, Baker Mayfield was just talking about it this week. And what they said, what's the big difference between, like, why are you so successful with Tampa? And, listen, he's got Chris Godwin. Godwin's always hurt, but Mike Evans, etc. But they asked Baker Mayfield, like, what was the turnaround for your career compared, you were bouncing around teams. And he basically said, he said there's a fine line between success and failure as a quarterback in the NFL. And he said it makes a big difference, number one, if the coach likes you or not. Right? And Stefanski never liked Baker Mayfield. Stefanski used to I was convinced, and I used to not like Baker. And I was one, I should say, I liked Baker in college. Then I thought Baker became like a little mega monster type ego kid. And then I like Baker now. Right? So I like to, I've seen a transformation of Baker's career and his life here. And he was cocky in Cleveland, yes. But he got into the playoffs. And people it wasn't a disaster. And at one point I started to wonder if Stefanski was trying to make him look bad. I literally said it. And you know what? I felt smart because we were sitting with Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk. And remember, Marshall used to be on the network. And I asked him, I said, what's the deal with their play calling and this? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, Stefanski, I think, doesn't like him and wants to make him look bad so he can go to the owner and say, I want to get rid of this guy. And remember, Baker Mayfield's father said the same thing. He said, yeah, you guys don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I caught it. I was like, they're trying to make him look bad here in Cleveland. Now, and remember, Beckham didn't like him. Whatever. Odell doesn't like anybody besides Odell. So, Odell doesn't like him, blah, blah. So, listen, I'm not saying it was going to work in Cleveland. He goes to Carolina, whatever. They're terrible, etc. But Baker was talking about, if they believe in you. And it does make a massive difference.
Then there's Kalia Copper, a.k.a. the Walking Bucket. I actually think I gave her the nickname the Walking Bucket. I don't know if anybody gave it to her before that, but I know I did. And she's done it in the playoffs with the Chicago Sky winning the WNBA title. It's about matchups. They have played the Liberty 3 times. They've beat them 2 out of 3.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Want to hear a crazy stat, guys, with this Pittsburgh Pirates team? I brought this up yesterday. Out of 106 games, they have been involved in 27 shutouts, 13-4, 14 against. Over 1 out of every 4 Pittsburgh Pirate games ends in a shutout. How crazy is that?
Total is 8 tonight.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
One big problem for NBC, too many on-air cooks for the coverage, particularly on the weekends. Having 4 on-air teams separate time, divide the time, was really outrageous. You had Mike Tirico and his partner. You had Dan Hicks, NBC Sports' lead golf commentator, and his partner. You had Steve Sands from Golf Channel and his partner. And you had Terry Gann, who, by the way, if you don't know, is going to become an NBA play-by-play voice.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Talk to any player. Hey, used to get 18 sacks, got 7 last year. Maybe it's a defensive scheme. I don't like it at the end of the season. Oh, he's got to earn his trust back. No, he doesn't. Just show up at camp the next year and start to dominate once again, and everybody will forget. You're telling me in game number 1, the Miami Dolphins going deep, Tyreek Hill, 6 catches, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh, man, we're still working the process. No, you're not. The minute you get back on the field, dap it up, get after it, and have a good season.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
What to play for Sidewalk Trackers. It has a lower house advantage.
In-game live continues. I am Gabriel Morency. Kicking it with Scott Wetzel. Our main man, Dave Delano, is going to step up in a little bit later on, in a couple of minutes, actually. And Dave's a big baseball bettor, great baseball bettor. Look forward to Dave's take on the trade deadline. Adam Kaufman will join us a little bit later on as well. So the Detroit Lions getting punched in the mouth early in this football game. Kyle Allen's been incredibly sloppy. A near pick six, an interception in the end zone. The Lions have moved the football a couple of times, but then they turn it over. And right on cue, they're moving the ball down the field right now. And as I speak, there's just a penalty on the Lions. We jumped in on the Lions. We got plus 11.5 in game. The first quarter has just come to an end, actually. So we're early second quarter right now. We're getting 11.5 still. So they're down 14-0. In-game total is 39.5 right now. And the CFL game, we're at the half. The Ottawa Red Blacks are up 17-3. And I flip-flopped on this football game all week. P.J. Walker starting quarterback tonight for the Calgary Stampeders. And I know we got some Temple crew in the house at Master Control. Of course, P.J. Walker, Temple Owl. And P.J. Walker lit it up in the XFL. He was going to be the MVP, but then COVID hit. He was on, the Houston Roughnecks. And so he was also on the Carolina Panthers with Matt Rule because Matt Rule was his coach in college. And pretty crazy, but P.J. Walker actually has a 5-4 record as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. That's impressive in its own right. Even more impressive that he was on a team as bad as the Carolina Panthers. But now he's the backup in the CFL of the Calgary Stampeders. And Vernon Adams is the starter, former Oregon Duck standout. Vernon Adams, Eastern Washington. He's the starter for the Calgary Stampeders, but he's injured. So P.J. Walker got to start tonight. And Ottawa have only won once this year. So I thought, you know what? P.J. Walker's had a whole week to work with the offense. The thing is, they're missing a bunch of wide receivers. But it's 17-3 at the half right now. Calgary are getting 14.5. The in-game total is 43.5. We're at 20. Let's go over 43.5 in-game here in the CFL game at the half. So we're at 20 at the half. I think there will be 24 points scored in the second half. And I've been telling you guys about this NFL game. There's going to be points, right? It ended up closing at 33.5, 34, depending on when and where you bet it. But there's going to be points. And the Lions are moving the ball right now. The only thing is just don't screw this up, right? I mean, they've been in the red zone and they've screwed this up a couple of times. I do have confidence that Hendon Hooker is going to be able to make some plays here. We'll see what the Lions do if they kick a field goal or if they say, we don't want to be down 14-3. We'll just go for it. But we got a fourth down coming up. Yeah, it's long. They're going to have to kick a field goal here. You just never know with the Detroit Lions, right? And Campbell. Right? Never try to presume anything. You can't presume anything with Dan Campbell in the regular season, so I'm not going to try to presume anything in the preseason. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much. Basketball. If you were with us earlier, I was talking about the TBT tournament that, of course, we've been betting on for years, as you guys know. And I talked about how the Aftershocks have the home court advantage. The game is in Wichita. It's in the same arena that they play their college games at, right? They're very enthusiastic about it. They fill the arena up. The crowd is really into it. We Are D3. This is a big run for them. Like, We Are D3 are in this tournament every year, and they're good. This is as deep as they've ever made it into the semifinals. Eberline Driver awaiting the winner of this game. But the Aftershocks are like tournament veterans. These guys are used to this tournament, the format. They've been there. They've done it. And they were playing at home. So we said, let's lay to 3.5. For the record, they're up 35-17 right now at the half. All right, they're the Aftershocks. They're the best defensive team in this tournament right now, and they play suffocating defense, and they're not playing around. Guys, the total of this game was like 149.5. It's 120.5 right now. It's 35-17 at the half. They played 9-minute quarters, but they play with the Elam ending. So, like, there's the target score after, so it makes it a little trickier for the totals. But I don't think they're going to get to 120. At this rate, it's a massacre, and I think We Are D3 are just going to tap out. They know they can't win. They're down by 18, plus you're going to have the target score after. They're in a lot of trouble, and the Aftershocks are a great defensive team.
if I have to think long and hard about whether or not you're a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. I don't need to argue stats. I don't need to argue whether or not you are great. If Ichiro Suzuki is not a Hall of Famer, we don't need to have a baseball Hall of Fame. Like, just pack it up and shut it down, because that guy was as good of a hitter as we've ever seen. And he was unbelievable from the first time he stepped onto the field for the Mariners until the end.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think TJ Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve. You know, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus you got some guys at utility. Plus you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here. And Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. You know, the numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their 4th major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their 4th major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is In-Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Hour number 2, Scott and Gabe until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We got preseason football, CFL, a little baseball, a little WNBA as well. So not a lot in those individual sports, but we do have a number of things that we can put a couple shekels on before we are through for sure. So, Gabe, I see it 4th and 1, Lions trailing 14-0. We'll start with the preseason game. They got a 4th and 1 at the Chargers' 5-yard line. I would be shocked beyond belief. This is like my wife, me coming home and having dinner on the table tonight. I would be shocked if he did not go for it 4th and 1 from the Lions 5, right? I mean, down 14-0 preseason game. I'm assuming he's going to go for it.
They just did, and they just converted on 4th and 1, and they threw the football, and the ball barely went over the extended fingertips of the defensive lineman. Scott, they just went for it on 4th and 3 a couple of plays ago. Now they go for it on 4th and 1, but Campbell actually looks like perturbed on the sidelines, like down 14-0. Like he's not enjoying this. And you said it earlier, he's competitive, but it's more about like enjoying the night. Yeah, it's the Hall of Fame and soaking it all up. Like they're ruining his night. Like, you know what I'm saying right now? Like at 14-0, they just got stuffed on 1st down. They ran it on 1st down, but this is pretty big, bro. Listen, we know they're going for it, so it's 4-down territory here. But
this is the over-under.
Yeah, our in-game right plus 11.5. The total is on like this gets stuck at 14. Suddenly it starts trending towards the under. We get to 21 and we're dancing. We're happy.
Right. This is basically your
there it is.
Now,
touchdown
you can still
Lions.
Cover.
Touchdown Lions. Touchdown
Lions.
Right. Reynolds.
It can still go under. I will say that, but it would not have gone over, I don't think, if they wouldn't have scored there. Barring, a turnover maybe.
I got a bold take, Scott. Detroit wins this game outright. They win outright. I say they come back and win the game outright still.
Yeah. You know why? Because what happens, as I've noticed in some preseason games, Gabe, is, different teams have different, thoughts on the preseason. So some teams, you put your better players out there. You get success out of those better players, like the Chargers did, converting on 2 scores already. And then they kind of say, okay, that's what we came to see. We really came to see our second stringers. They did well. And not that they don't want to win or care, but it's the, okay, we came here, we accomplished it. Whatever happened second half, knock yourself out. And maybe, just maybe that's what's happening with the Chargers a little bit. Whereas the team that's down and is trailing by a couple scores early, you said it, all ticked off. What we did, this is horrible football, blah, blah, blah. And then they take the second half a little bit more seriously because they don't want to walk out of there. No one wants to lose the game 30-0. So it's weird to say, but you're almost better off trailing in these preseason games early on than you are winning.
You're right. And, I brought this up and talking about the different strategies of it, Scott. The coaches don't care, right? Like Harbaugh, when they won 24 in a row, whatever, he cared because he knew the record. And it's about playing well. You know what I'm saying? It's about, listen, we played well, we did this, we did that. I'm happy. But really, Scott, it's really broken up into units, right? So the guys that are playing in the second half, they don't have a lot in common with the guys that started the football game, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's sort of different little pockets here. You're going to get different sort of like, pockets of energy. Not to mention right now, if you're Hendon Hooker, yeah, you're a team guy, Scott, but you also see how bad Kyle Allen is, right? You're standing there and you're like, man, if I play well, like I'm the backup because this guy's not very good, right? Like I just got to be better than him, and I'm the second string quarterback on the Detroit Lions this year, right? So there's these little intricacies to this, but there's a lot of football left, Scott, in this game. I was going to say it when it was 14-0. But, I was more so, I'm on Detroit. Let's just get back in this. So I took the plus 11.5 as you and I discussed. But it's plus 240 right now. We're one score away from being tied. Like, there's a lot of football left. And we still have Hendon Hooker to come. As you stated, I said it earlier, Scott. I'm glad now in hindsight. I'd rather have Hooker playing in the second half than Allen right now. So I'm going to take a shot right now. Plus 240. It's dipping because the odds makers know. I'm gonna get in on this right now as we speak. Give me the Detroit Lions to come back and win this game. Plus 240, plus 250 on the money line, guys.
Yeah, FanDuel's got that 280 here in New York still.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm surprised. And 5.5 minutes left. Now, listen, again, first half, second half preseason games, a little different than first half, second half in a regular season game. But you got 21 points. You have 5.5 minutes left to go, and they're still giving you 40.5. Which, listen, that's not as good as obviously the 33.5 it was. But, yeah, that's what I mean. I think we get, at least 3 more points, I would think for sure. Maybe another touchdown before the first half. And then you're well past the, the halfway point, as you are now anyway. So, and you got the over. Although I don't think they would go to overtime. They would go for 2. There's no way they would go to overtime.
No, you're right. They would. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is 21-21 in the fourth or 21-20 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, look, the Chargers are 1 touchdown away from being into the 20s. The Lions are enthusiastic suddenly now. Their sidelines fired up. As you stated, the Lions are thinking, let's get one more, man, 4.5. Let's get a field goal, at least 4.5 here, right? Make it 14-10. We got a game. And like I said, it's not like the players that are playing in the second half, guys, it's not like they're the starters and they're, we're just going to mail it in. No, you got guys fighting for jobs. Like the guys that are playing in the second half are fighting for the second string players on this team. So there's always that motivation, Scott. Like the Lions are not going to tap out in this game.
And it's the Hall of Fame game, Dave. As we've said, it's not, preseason game normal number 1. There's a lot of dignitaries, all the old Hall of Famers are all there, and they know that. No one wouldn't get lit up in front of all those stars and heroes that these guys grew up rooting and cherishing. So yeah, it's a little different. And I think that's why you had a halfway decent amount of points scored in some of these preseason games or some of these Hall of Fame games recently. So 14-7 at 6.5. Chargers on the move already. At least they have it at their own 42-yard line. So, and that over-under is still 40.5. Little juiced here in New York at minus 132 or 135. But still, I still think we get it into the low 40s to tell you the truth. I did like Calgary. I don't know a whole lot, working with Joe Bannon. We got back and forth with the CFL, so I know a little bit. And I know Calgary's had a really surprising season so far. They're up to getting 14.5. They're down 14. It is halftime, as you were mentioned. I think I'm going to take a flyer on Calgary plus the 14.5 game. What do you think?
I would, Scott, and I was talking about this while we had an issue with you earlier. You'll probably remember him, P.J. Walker, former Temple Owl quarterback. And he was also with the Carolina Panthers with Matt Rule. Actually 5-4 as a starter in the NFL, which is pretty freaking impressive on any team, let alone the Carolina Panthers, Scott, right? So he would have been the MVP of the XFL in the COVID year. He was lighting it up, and the league got shut down. So he's the backup quarterback. The Calgary have overachieved this year. Their win total was 6.5. I bet this season win total the over. They're 5-2 right now, but the starting quarterback, Vernon Adams, is hurt. P.J. Walker gets the call. Yeah, okay. So P.J. Walker's playing. And it's not that it's such a massive drop-off from P.J. Walker, but they're without 4. They're starting 5 wide receivers. So P.J. Walker, he's getting thrown in there. And, oh, yeah, by the way, our top 3 wide receivers aren't here. Good luck. Right? It's one of those deals. So good luck, PJ. And he's getting lit up. Oh, I thought you were Mr. N on Twitter. All the CFL fans. Oh, Mr. NFL's only got 3 points at the half, right? It's like, yeah, well, he doesn't have his guys. I thought there was just an interception right now, and there is, actually. So right on cue, Scott, Calgary picks off Ottawa and returns it in Ottawa's territory. I'm with you. I think they're the double digits. Grab them. CFL, there's going to be some points, and I think Calgary aren't quitting in this game either.
Yeah. All right, so quick little break. We'll come back and check out the baseball board. We haven't touched on that. And one WNBA game we can take a peek at as well. Golden State taking on Washington. In-game live game day on the grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe checking out a little baseball, a little football, a little basketball. It is a beautiful thing. So we got the baseball here, Gabe. We got St. Louis and Cincinnati tied at 3. I did like the Reds in this game. In fact, I laid the run and a half with Andrew Abbott, who I really like a lot. He was on the hill, 8-1. They had a 3-1 lead, but they blew that, so it's 3-3 as they play top of the 8th inning. Cincinnati had the bases loaded bottom of the 7th, and they didn't score. So at 3-3, they go top 8.
This is our, once again, though, Scott, right? You say you liked Abbott and, all right, the starting pitcher, cool. Okay, it's 3-3 late in the baseball game, right? Starting pitcher has nothing to do with it right now. That was sort of our point earlier in the week when we were talking about people overrating starting pitching a little bit. But, 3-3. And, of course, we talked about this with Rob earlier, but, the Mariners' longest playoff drought in Major League Baseball, Scott, right? And they're pretty loyal fans. They show up, they've got the Seahawks, and, they got their Mariners. Looks like they're probably going to get the Sonics back eventually, but it's been a rough ride for Mariner fans. And they've had good pitching, the ownership, players have openly called out ownership at the trade deadline in the past. This is new for them. This is all in for the Mariners. So this stadium is going to be rocking tonight. Laying 70 cents, obviously, the price. We were talking about Suarez, plus 350 to hit a home run tonight. Rob said he's going to play the Mariners in the first 5 in this game.
Makes sense. If you want to ride the emotion, it's true. If you remember the last couple of years, not only didn't they add players or real players, I remember the last couple of years they traded away their closer. They're fighting for a playoff spot, and then they would be trading their closers away. So this is a flip. It's funny that they're still a game plus 750, or at least they were this afternoon. I'll double check here in a second. They were and more importantly, they were still the 4th choice and plus 750 to win the league. The only reason I would guess that they're that high still after these moves is that, they got to get into a playoff spot. Toronto is in, Detroit is in, Houston, barring a major collapse, is probably in. It's Seattle that's still fighting for a playoff spot. So maybe once they get a little bit more secure in a playoff spot, maybe those odds would drop a little bit. But they really didn't move after picking up Suarez and Naylor, which I thought it might a little bit.
You know who didn't move today, or move the needle, I should say, today? The Boston Red Sox. So you talk about the teams that they're competing with to get into the playoffs, as you stated. So the Blue Jays are making the playoffs. We know this, right? The Blue Jays are going to make the playoffs. So you got the Rays and Yankees battling, Red Sox battling, and then you got the Rangers, Mariners, Astros, right? The one team comes from the Central, right? The winner, the Tigers. I think Seattle are better than the Red Sox are right now, Scott. I mean, I think I'm buying in. I don't like to overreact to these trades, deals. Just because you got a big name and you do this doesn't always make it better, sometimes. But if you look at the Mariners situation and what they have going on, and we talked about it earlier, Rodriguez really hasn't got it going on, but you got Cal Raleigh doing his thing. Scott, I brought it up. I don't know if you heard, but they're the first team, only the second team in Major League Baseball history, only one team ever before in the history of baseball, Scott, had 2 players on the team with 35 or more home runs going into the month of August before, which the Mariners now have with Suarez and Raleigh. And that team was 1961 New York Yankees. Maris and Mantle.
Really?
Maris and Mantle.
No Ruth and Garrick, or
pretty crazy.
Neither
of them had 35. Neither of them had 35 going into the month of August. Both of them.
Wow, that's something. He played there before, right? He didn't put up monster numbers, decent numbers. He is who he's pretty consistent. It's funny. I wanted to look it up, Gabe, and I was gonna. My premise going in was to say, well, what if he turns out to be Eugene Suarez again, right? And not the guy who's hitting 50 home runs this year. But he's doing a little bit better this year. But he's basically a 30 home run guy. He's going to hit you about 230, 240, which he is right now. He played a couple years in Seattle just 2 seasons ago, so he's familiar with the American League. He's familiar with the ballpark. His numbers aren't overly great at Seattle. It's basically an even split on Seattle, at home and on the road. But the guy's having a good year. He's a free agent at the end of the season, so he wants to continue. It's not like you're getting a guy that says, all right, you know what, I really want to be in Arizona, but now I'm stuck in Seattle again. So he's going to want to continue to do well. I like the move. He's not picking up Babe Ruth here, but with Naylor and now him and Raleigh, if he continues the way he's doing, and if Julio can hit the ball a little bit better, it's not a bad lineup. It's not great, but it's a deep lineup. Not too many holes in that lineup.
Well, when you also throw in the defense, the slash pitching that they have, and overall, I think you make an argument they're the best team in the American League right now. I think they're being slept on a little bit, as you stated, just because, they're not in first place and there's work to do. There's other teams they're battling with, but plus 310. I'm looking at FanDuel right now, plus 310 for the Mariners to win a division. The Astros are minus 210. And for the record, the Astros end up bringing Correa back today, Scott, of course, as you know.
Yeah.
But reunited. And it's funny, we're just talking about Suarez going back to Seattle. Houston said, all right, let's just bring Correa back.
That's a little weird. And by the way, the Seattle line is down to plus 650. I saw it at plus 70 this afternoon.
Touchdown Chargers, Scott. We're up to 28 now. We're up to 28 now.
Oof. Nice. I didn't look. I looked for props. I didn't see any props. Did they offer adjusted line? Yeah, 44.5 and 11.5 is your numbers now. And Detroit's got the ball with a minute 44 left. So we might get some more points, even a field goal. This is one time where Campbell probably would kick a field goal. So, but did they offer any adjusted lines by you? They didn't here in New York. There were no props, nothing nothing crazy. Did they offer anything by you up in Canada?
No, there wasn't touchdown scorer props or player props.
Right, nothing.
There was team totals, so they had team totals. Bet365 had team totals. They also had the winning margin, actually, bet, which I thought about doing. You think about it in the preseason, something we could talk about. The Hall of Fame game's a little bit different because these teams haven't a lot of time to practice, but most preseason games are pretty close, guys. And you can take the team to win at like plus 280, plus 300, Scott, 1-6.
Not bad. Dave Delano, hitthepick.com. Join us next with Baseball Talk.
Joaquin Niemann wins for the 5th time on the LIV Golf Tour. And I don't know how many starts they've had. Is it 9 at this point? Probably, maybe 10. So he's won half the time virtually.
He has, and this is again a stat. Sean Lowry's our guy who sends me LIV stats every week.
I love that you get LIV stats every week from.
It's so good.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Sadiq Bey coming off the bench. Alvarado missed a lot of time. Jordan Hawkins has had his moments. So, and remember, they picked out even a guy like Kevon Looney off the bench. So, to me, they could be there. You know what? And it's crazy because last year I was so big on them, and now I'm off of them. But I'm going to say it. Fly Pelican! 7-1. Fly Pelican. Fly Pelican fly. 7-1. Worth it.
Here's why JY is great, because sometimes I almost, it's tough when I sell JY, because now what will happen is, right? I mean, listen, it's the middle of the summer, you know what I mean? And what's going to happen in 2 months from now, JY's going to go, now listen, me and K-Dub love these Pelicans. I'm like, when did I say that? When did I don't remember that one, JY.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I drafted Aaron Jones in my Dynasty League, but he's like my 4th running back, to let you know that people don't really believe in him. And by the way, when you play in a Dynasty League, I always play to win this year. I don't worry about next year. I want to win now. Flags fly forever. I'll worry about next year. So, but I got Aaron Jones last year, 1138. So he's going to drop that down by almost 50% not to get this total here. Yeah, I think he gets, I'll take the over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. We got baseball, a little football, a little WNBA basketball as well. Let's talk a little baseball with our next guest from hitthepick.com. Hitthepick.com. That is our good buddy Dave Delano. What's going on, Dave, Scott, and Gabe? How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm glad that we have some, even though it's preseason, I'm glad we have some, CFL is great too, but I'm glad that we have some American football to talk about, man. It's just letting us know that time is here. So it's always more eyes on stuff, even though, we've got baseball still, which I love. Whenever football's going on, there's just more attention just on this whole world and these shows and everything. It's just it's fun. So it still feels like that first opening day in a bit. So I'm excited.
Explosive first half, 28 points put up on the board, 21 of them by the Chargers. The Lions have been pretty sloppy. They had that one nice drive, but they've been turning the ball over. There's only a minute left in the first half, guys, and the Chargers have the ball deep in their own end. So unless there's a turnover, I doubt they're going to score again. The total just popped up to 44.5, though, right now, Scott. So we're already at 28 right now, 44.5. That's 17 points. 17 points for the remainder of the football game, which I think is going to get there. Dave, I don't know about you, but we played the over of this game. The last 3 Hall of Fame games have all gone over the number. They've all had 37 or more points scored in them. I thought there'd be points in this game. I've said it. In the past, it used to be more of a slugfest where the old school coaches, the older guys, the last generation coaches, they would just, let's say, whatever, dude, just run the ball. Let's just get the hell out of here. Like, I don't care. Like, just, let's get in and out. Modern NFL, man, you're seeing they're throwing deep, they're throwing passes. Everybody's so freaking fast. You saw like on one bad pass by Kyle Allen, the dude on the Chargers returned it to the 3-yard line. Like he just burned down the field. So I think we're going to get another 17 points in this game, Dave. I don't know if you played the total of this one.
Yeah, I did. The total was actually the play that I gave. I did the 32.5. I went with the over in this one. And I know a lot of times people say preseason, bet the under. But there's always, you still need to consider the number. In 32.5, I know it's not over, but it's looking good. Just way too low for me to take the under. So I took the over. I mean, you've got new coordinators on the side of the Lions. You've got Trey Lance. I mean, fighting for potentially his NFL life. I know you could say it's first game of the season. What does it mean? Well, he doesn't want to look terrible in this game. If he comes out and just threw out a bad performance, I mean, he's starting to question his NFL future. So, yeah, there was a lot of reasons. You talk about turnovers, guys fighting for jobs. So I like the over. Now, I'm not so sure. Even though it's only 17 more points, I'm not so sure that I would jump on the live total in this one. I definitely think the scoring is going to slow down. I'm personally just going to stay where I'm at, which was the over 32.5, and just and ride it out there. I'm not so sure that we're going to get to that 44.5. That's just a little bit too much for me at this point. But glad
we're going to the half now. It is going to the half now. So it is 44.5 going into the half. Chargers laying 11.5 right now. And the CFL game is a train wreck tonight. We defended P.J. Walker, and we said, well, listen, he doesn't have his wide receivers. But as I said that, then he fumbled a snap, lost like 30 yards on the play. Like, it's been a sloppy, disastrous night for a Calgary Stampeder team who were rolling, who were like 5-1. Suddenly they're going to be 5-3 unless there's a miraculous comeback, down 17-4 right now. Dave, we're coming up against the break here, but of course the Major League Baseball trade deadline, there was a flurry of activity, and there were a ton of teams that were like super aggressive. I've always thought the Philadelphia Phillies were like a serious threat to win the National League and the World Series. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're going to be there, right, in the playoffs. I think it's going to be the Phillies and the Dodgers, but San Diego are always dangerous, Dave. And San Diego don't fear L.A. either. And we've seen San Diego beaten L.A. in the playoffs before. I tell you, the Dodgers don't want to play San Diego in the playoffs. And then you look at what the Mariners finally, after all these years, finally get aggressive at the trade deadline and send a message that, hey, we're all in. So we'll see what Delano thinks about the Mariners and the Rangers. And it should be noted, Delano is in the Lone Star State as well. So we get the Texas perspective. But Naylor and Suarez both in the lineup tonight, guys. This game is going off the board in about 10 minutes' time. I'm going to play Suarez to hit a home run. The public play tonight, Suarez plus 350. Let's go.
Joaquin Niemann wins for the 5th time on the Live Golf Tour. And I don't know how many starts they've had. Is it 9 at this point? Probably, maybe 10. So he's won half the time virtually.
He has, and this is again a stat. Sean Lowry's our guy who sends me live stats every week.
I love that you get live stats every week from.
It's so good.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Sadiq Bey coming off the bench. Alvarado missed a lot of time. Jordan Hawkins has had his moments. So and remember, they picked out even a guy like Kevon Looney off the bench. So to me, they could be there. You know what? And it's crazy because last year I was so big on them, and now I'm off of them. But I'm going to say it. Fly Pelican. 7-1. Fly Pelican. Fly Pelican fly. 7-1. Worth it.
So, here's why JY is great, because sometimes I almost, it's tough when I sell JY, because now what will happen is, right? I mean, listen, it's the middle of the summer. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen in 2 months from now, JY's going to go, now listen, me and K-Dub love these Pelicans. I'm like, when did I say that? Whoa, I don't remember that one. JY.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
So I drafted Aaron Jones in my Dynasty League, but he's like my 4th running back, to let you know that people don't really believe in him. And by the way, when you play in a Dynasty League, I always play to win this year. I don't worry about next year. I want to win now. Flags fly forever. I'll worry about next year. So, but I got Aaron Jones last year, 1138. So he's going to drop that down by almost 50% not to get this total here. Yeah, I think he gets. I'll take the over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe talking with Dave Delano. HitThePick.com. It's HitThePick.com. And Dave, so we got one game left on the board. Texas and Seattle, the debut of Eugenio Suarez for the Mariners, who made some moves this trade deadline. We'll get to some of the trades, but first up, the game itself. Where you going, Seattle versus Texas?
When Gabe was talking about props, whenever these division teams play each other, it can go both ways. I like Seattle. Not too crazy about the price. They're a big favorite. But I do like Kyle Raleigh to hit. I have him over 1.5 hit plus run plus RBI. You mentioned the additions to the lineup. I mean, he's still leading the league in home runs and RBI this season. So I do like him to get over 1.5 in that one. And also leaning on the Mariners to win that game. I know they have the advantage on the mound. They've done a lot at the trade deadline for their franchise to be excited about, but these are still division teams that are basically dead even on the season. So lean to the Mariners, but Riley is going to be my only official play on that one.
Short trip, Scott. I don't know how you feel. I know you were on the Rangers. You were riding the Rangers all week, basically, against the Halos. Yeah. So, their road trip continues. I say this because I recently flew from L.A. to Seattle. It's a little longer than people realize, about 2 hours or so, but it's a big series for the Rangers too. Are you going to go back, or are we walking into a public trap with the Mariners tonight, Scott? I guess that's the question, right? Because everybody's going to be on the Mariners tonight. That's why they're saying no one trusts Kumar Rocker. They're 70-cent favorites, etc.
Yeah, this is another one, guys. It's only 7.5. Really? We Rocker on the hill? I know Kermit can be good, but with that lineup, I mean, I was surprised, with all the guys now with Seattle, Texas hitting the ball a little bit better. Dave, are you surprised? You stayed off it, so you didn't bite on the 7.5. Are you really surprised it's only 7.5? Because I figured for sure this would be at least 8.5.
No, you're right. I think that the totals in Seattle, sometimes they get a little bit over-exaggerate or under-exaggerate, I should say, because it's such a great under ballpark. But you're right. I mean, Rocker's been, numbers have been horrendous on the road this season. And Kirby hasn't been the sharpest either compared to compared to the past, and both familiar with each other. So, yeah, I don't think that that's a bad play. I didn't pull the trigger on that, which is kind of a weird day with only 2 late baseball games. I didn't want to get crazy with too many plays. I mean, one that I did that looked easy, that obviously wasn't. I'll say it even though it's already going on. I did jump on the Reds earlier, and obviously,
yeah, me too. Me too.
I mean, before, how could you not, right? So I did take that one, and I've got the prop in the second one. But no, the over does sound like a good play. I just didn't officially jump on it. But I agree with you, from the optics on the outside, it's hard not to like it. I definitely wouldn't want to go with the under.
All right. What do you think trade-wise? Who stood out for you?
Well, I mean, the Mariners, they stood out a lot with that Suarez trade. I was a little underwhelmed with the Tigers. Pitching wise, I know you got Paddock, who did pitch well yesterday, in Morton, but yeah, I mean, Morton has the playoff experience, but I thought that getting a bat like Suarez, and I know they upgraded the bullpen a little bit, but still, I was a little bit underwhelmed with the Tigers. I was really surprised that the Astros are bringing back Correa, and even though Correa hasn't had a strong season, I think that was an interesting move, and I think that's probably, I mean, he mentioned that was the only place that he would be willing to go to. I think that's a good mutual fit, because if there's any place that we're actually going to see a better Correa after them letting Bregman go last year, I do think him reuniting with Altuve is going to be a good fit for Houston. So those are two things that really did stand out to me. Yankees, I don't think that the Yankees done enough. It's they're always popular to talk about, but I was a little underwhelmed with the Yankees and the Tigers, and impressed with what the Mariners did.
Gabe, let me jump in here a second real quickly. Let me hop in and follow it up on the Tigers, because Dave, I don't understand what the Tigers did, right? They're making the playoffs. They have a 10-game lead. So are they planning on putting Paddock and or Morton in the starting rotation come playoff-wise? I mean, really? You're not going to win a series against the Yankees, Toronto, Texas. You're not going to win any series if you're pitching Charlie Morton and Chris Paddock in the postseason. So if that's the case, then why get them?
Well, what the Tigers did last season, I mean, just after Schoolboy patching so many different arms together, because they did get a lot of different, arms, even though some of them, Montero, they may not seem overwhelming on paper. I think they're, what A.J. Hinch is probably going to do, looking at Morton, Paddock, he's going to see if he can find some matchups and maybe pitch them two innings in a game here, 2 innings in a game there. Morton pitch a couple innings, Paddock pitch a couple innings if he has it. I don't think that to expect them to go 4, 5, even 6 innings in the postseason isn't likely going to happen. But I think Hinch is going to look for the right situations and see if it's going to be starting by committee in a lot of those games outside of Schoolboy. So I think that they're probably there to pitch a couple innings in games.
They did this last year. They're just cheap. Let's just call it out for what it is. Like, look, they ended up getting Flaherty back. Flaherty was dying to stay with the Dodgers. He didn't. In the end, they didn't want to bring him back. But look at last year. They were good, and they let Flaherty go to the Dodgers, et cetera, Scott.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we've seen this with the Tigers, in which they're almost like we were talking about the Mariners have done in the past. It's like the Tigers are taking the same sort of approach. I don't really get it either, why they weren't a little bit more aggressive. I didn't fully believe in the Tigers going into the playoffs to begin with, and I even less so now. I think the Phillies guys, just the little pieces here, and then bring in Duran and improving their defense, like what the Philadelphia Phillies did. And Dave, San Diego, the national media don't talk about them much. Everybody just sort of assumed after the owner died, oh, no, they're not going to spend money anymore because, the family's feuding behind the scenes. And it's really had zero impact on the baseball team. And, in fact, they've continued to be aggressive. Like, it's been years now that people are always surprised when San Diego does something. And I'm surprised that people are surprised now, guys, at this point, because that's all they effing do all the time is just they're trying to take the Dodgers down. Like, they fall short. They beat them in the playoffs. But you got to like what San Diego has done too, Dave.
Yeah, San Diego, I actually had last year going into the playoffs. I took them before the playoffs started to win the National League because the Dodgers obviously were the favorites and didn't have as good of a price, and it felt like if they could get by the Dodgers, they would do it, which they didn't. But reaching for the Dodgers and having them coming so close, and when you're competing against the best, and that's your goal, you're gonna, even if you fall, you're not gonna fall too short too hard. We've seen the Dodgers. I know it's still regular season, but they've dealt with some injuries. I mean, that's always a possibility, and the Padres are still going to be right there. They've been sneakingly good. I mean, they're right there, but they haven't been dominant. Sometimes it seems like they're a little underwhelming, even from a betting perspective. But then you look up in the standings. I mean, they're still 11 games above 500. The Padres are right there. I think that the Milwaukee Brewers as well. Not big splashy moves, but they're also a team that we know is going to be in the playoffs. So there's somebody to consider. And one last thing just to hit on with the Tigers. I think that right now there's so many teams to talk about. It seems so wide open for the Major League Baseball World Series than it has in the past. And when you're a team like the Tigers that doesn't really have to worry about being in the playoffs because you know you're going to be there, I definitely think that they should have been more aggressive, especially offensively, because you know you're going to be in the postseason. And I think that they definitely missed a big opportunity.
Yeah, maybe you can still make some deals. Players just have to, clear waivers. So sometimes people forget about that. Deals can still be done, but kind of strange, definitely. Dave, great job as always. Check out his website, hitthepick.com, but it's hitthepick.com for all his plays, all his thoughts. Thanks, Dave. Do it again soon.
Joaquin Niemann wins for the 5th time on the Live Golf Tour. And I don't know how many starts they've had. Is it 9 at this point? Probably, maybe 10. So he's won half the time virtually.
He has, and this is again a stat. Sean Lowry is our guy who sends me live stats every week.
I love that you get live stats every week.
It's so good.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Sadiq Bey coming off the bench. Alvarado missed a lot of time. Jordan Hawkins has had his moments. So and remember, they picked out even a guy like Kevon Looney off the bench. So to me, they could be there. You know what? And it's crazy because last year I was so big on them, and now I'm off of them. But I'm going to say it. Fly Pelican. 7-1. Fly Pelican. Fly Pelican fly. 7-1. What's the...
Here's why JY is great, because sometimes I almost, it's tough when I sell JY, because now what will happen is, right? I mean, listen, it's the middle of the summer. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen in 2 months from now, JY's going to go, now listen, me and K-Dub love these Pelicans. I'm like, when did I say that? I don't remember that one. JY.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I drafted Aaron Jones in my Dynasty League, but he's like my 4th running back, to let you know that people don't really believe in him. And by the way, when you play in a Dynasty League, I always play to win this year. I don't worry about next year. I want to win now. Flags fly forever. I'll worry about next year. So, but I got Aaron Jones last year, 1138. So he's going to drop that down by almost 50% not to get this total here. Yeah, I think he gets, I'll take the over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2 as we move along here. A little preseason football with the Hall of Fame game. It's 21-7. They just begun the second half. Chargers get the ball first after, remember, the Lions fumbled the opening kickoff. So 21-7, Chargers on top, laying 10.5. Over-under is 43.5. You got Ottawa 17-4. Over Calgary in the third quarter. 13.5 is the number there for Ottawa, obviously, and 31.5 is your over-under with 20 points. In fact, they just locked that up, so maybe something's going on with that football game. And then baseball, the one game that we have in progress right now, Atlanta has blown things open against the Cincinnati Reds, who I did like. It's 11-6. Actually, the Texas-Seattle game is just underway as well. No score first inning, obviously. So 11-6, Atlanta over Cincinnati, bottom of the 8th inning. Talk a little baseball, a little football. Who knows what else with our good buddy SportsGrid Radio TV host, Adam Kaufman. What's going on, Adam? How are you tonight?
Gentlemen, it's good to see you. Just some housekeeping, right? First and foremost, Gabe, it's good to see you again. Congrats on the wedding. Congrats on the tour. All the good stuff that you've been up to over the last couple of weeks. And to the both of you, congrats on the tandem here. It's nice to see the two of you together here in this time slot.
I appreciate it, Adam. Good to see you. Yeah, it's been quite a few weeks actually. It's been one thing after another. I go away from 1 week and all hell breaks loose. But let me ask you, we were talking about baseball so much. I thought the Red Sox was kind of anticlimactic, right? I mean, after the Devers deal, people said, "Oh, they're going to have money and this and that." But as long as the NFL season has started tonight, I can't log on to the internet or watch a show without people acting like the New England Patriots are going to be the best team in the National Football League this year. Like clips from their camp and the most annoying Twitter account in the world, the Dev Cliveman guy. Everything's scary. So he had this scary Joe Mazzulla visited practice to talk to him. I'm like, oh yeah. Philadelphia Eagle players are talking right now going, man, did you see the coach of the Celtics went to the Patriots practice? Wow, we better watch out for those guys. But all kidding aside, what's your feel about what are people saying about the Patriots? Because there seems to be a big buzz about them.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Mazzulla being in camp, obviously Celtics head coach was fun, but that's something that, that's been going on in Foxborough for years, dating back to obviously when Bill Belichick was around. He used to have, Bruins coaches or Celtics coaches, Red Sox personnel, Boston College, you name it. They would always have, it's a tight community, the Boston sports market, and so not uncommon, obviously, for guys to work their way down to Foxborough. But you're right. I mean, it's not just social media; it's talking heads, it's people like us, it's shows like this where it seems like the Patriots are kind of the darlings of the sports betting media when it comes to betting their overs to make the playoffs. That being said, I don't think. It hasn't gone crazy to me. Crazy is they're going to challenge the Bills for the division, or they're going to win the Super Bowl, or watch out for that deep run. But I would say there is justifiable excitement with the hire of a real head coach. You get Mike Vrabel in there, who obviously had a great deal of success with Tennessee. He's a leader among men. He commands great respect. He has experience, which Gerard Mayo didn't. He was in over his head last year. You get a real offensive coordinator who has proven success here with this team, granted under Bill Belichick and largely with Tom Brady. But Josh McDaniels, he got some decent play out of Cam Newton. He got a Pro Bowl year out of Mac Jones. So you put, again, a real quarterback that I think people nationally do take seriously in Drake May with McDaniels, under Vrabel, add Steph Diggs, see what he is after this injury. And there is a belief that this Patriots team can, make a little bit of noise. We've seen the win total bet up from 7.5 to 8.5. I would still go to the over. But I think the thing that we're leaving out to this point is schedule's a joke, guys. It's the easiest or second easiest in the NFL this season. If you look at it and truly go game by game, even conservatively, the Patriots should have 7 or 8 wins, and that's if nothing broke their way. Teams always steal a couple of games. I think this is a 9-10 win.
Adam, I don't think they win 5 games, let alone 8 or 9. Are you kidding me? This team stinks.
Got a great defense. It has a great
they don't
defense.
have a great defense. Come on. And Mike Vrabel, how many championship rings did Mike Vrabel win with the Tennessee Titans? He underachieved year after year. That team should have had
knocked out Tom Brady and the Patriots in a playoff game in Foxborough, no less.
Yeah, listen, did he have any championships? No,
You're selling him short.
He had a terrific team.
I'm getting flashbacks to the Oklahoma
He had the best
City
running back in the history of
conversation
mankind,
that
and he couldn't win.
I'm getting flashbacks to the Thunder suck conversation. Team just won the NBA title. We could sit here and say, if I came on, I was like, the Patriots are a 13-win team. I will take the pushback. But I'm giving you, 8, 9, 10 wins. I think 9, 10 wins for this team. I don't think that's nuts. I think 5 is crazy. I mean, hammer the under if you believe in that.
Well, I'll just say, because up to 8.5, like you said, it's up to 8.5, although it's like plus 100, plus 105 to the over 8.5.
Right.
I'm just thinking, wow, having a winning record is a lot. Because as Scott stated, I think you're both right. There's a long way to go. I think people have fast-tracked them, Scott. Thinking, Vrabel's there and this and that, and Drake May's the next this and that. All right, we've seen this in the past. Second-year quarterbacks, not the same. And Stephon Diggs, trust me, I wouldn't get too overly excited about Diggs. And I was a Diggs guy, but he's not the same player that he used to be. And if he was, the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans both just let him go, right? So I'm just being real about that. But I think what you said is, I think you said it well, Adam, in that there's reason to be optimistic about the Patriots' future, Scott. But I would bet under 9. And you're saying like 5, 6 or whatever, Scott, but it's minus 130 under 8.5. I would comfortably say, the Patriots aren't winning 9. And I might blow your mind, Adam, and Wetzel might agree with me on this. And I don't think I've ever said this once in my life before, but I think the Jets win total could go over this year. I think everyone talking about the Patriots, I think the Jets will be better than people think.
I think the Jets and Giants. I think they'll both have more wins than the Patriots. This Patriots team had basically 3 wins last year. Yeah, we'll follow up with Adam when we come back.
Joaquin Neiman wins for the 5th time on the Live Golf Tour. And I don't know how many starts they've had. Is it 9 at this point? Probably, maybe 10. So he's won half the time virtually.
He has, and this is again a stat. Sean Lowry's our guy who sends me live stats every week.
I love that you get live stats every week from.
It's so good.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Sadiq Bey come off the bench. Alvarado missed a lot of time. Jordan Hawkins has had his moments. So and remember, they picked out even a guy like Kevon Looney off the bench. So to me, they could be there. You know what? And it's crazy because last year I was so big on them, and now I'm off of them. But I'm going to say it. Fly Pelican. 7-1. Fly Pelican. Fly Pelican fly. 7-1. What's the...
Here's why JY is great, because sometimes it's tough when I sell JY, because now what will happen is, right? I mean, listen, it's the middle of the summer. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen in 2 months from now, JY's going to go, now listen, me and K-Dub love these Pelicans. I'm like, when did I say that? I don't remember that one. JY.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
As I drafted Aaron Jones in my dynasty league, but he's like my 4th running back, to let you know that people don't really believe in him. And by the way, when you play in a dynasty league, I always play to win this year. I don't worry about next year. I want to win now. Flags fly forever. I'll worry about next year. So, but I got Aaron Jones last year, 1138. So he's going to drop that down by almost 50% not to get this total here. Yeah, I think he gets. I'll take the over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe closing up shop here, talking with Adam Kaufman. We go back and forth. So we'll agree to disagree on the New England Patriots. But any thoughts? Exactly, right? Chargers kicked the field goal, so now they're up 24-7, 13.5 and 43.5. Do you have any action, Adam, on this game? And where would you go now if you didn't, or if you could?
All right, so I took Chargers first half. That obviously was a very smooth cash. That was pretty sweat-free. And I also took the over in the game, which was sitting at, 33 or 32.5. So that's looking pretty sweat-free, too. I'm sorry. I know I'm not the host. I got to change the topic on you guys. Do you see what's happening in Cincinnati right now? This is an 11-11 game. I have the Reds money line. They were up 3-0, allowed 11 unanswered. They were down 11-3, I think, entering this 8th inning. This is 8 runs scored by Cincinnati, and there isn't a single out yet. Not one out in the bottom of this inning. This is nuts.
I gave up on this game. I'm sweating out both football games.
I totally gave up.
I brought it up. I threw it out there, and I don't have any action on it, but I threw it out there a couple minutes, and I said, yeah, it's 8-3 right now. The Braves just blew it open. And the Reds.
What was the money line on Cincinnati going into the 8th down by 8 runs?
Yeah. When's the last time 2 teams scored 8 runs in the same half of an inning? Top of the 8th and bottom of the 8th.
But it was probably like 50-1.
Yeah, they probably pulled it. I mean, somewhere along the line, they probably put it back on, but they probably didn't even give it to you.
We'll find out. It'll be posted. Somebody, you know what I mean? Whatever. One of the game accounts will post what it was. But that is insane. Well, I'm sweating out this stupid CFL game. PJ Walker just threw a pick 6, and there's an 8-run inning.
I remember him. Wasn't he Carolina, PJ Walker?
Yeah, Carolina. Yeah. He's actually 5-4 as a starter in the National Football League. He started for the first time in the CFL tonight. And
was he one of the XFL guys too, like the most recent XFL?
Yeah, he was in the XFL as well.
Yeah.
He's the modern day Josh Johnson.
He is.
Remember him? There were 2 Josh Johnsons. You always got confused.
Who's still in the league, actually. Johnson's still in the league right now.
Wow. Anything on Texas and Seattle, Adam?
I took Seattle. Did I take full or first 5? I'm trying to remember. But I invested in Seattle. I just really leaning into the pitching matchup. As you know, I know Scott. We've talked about 1,000 times, and I'm just pulling it up here to see where I went with it. Kirby against Rocker. Yeah, I went Kirby. I think first 5. Seattle first 5 with the juice, which again was probably like minus 180, a crazy number, but just to have a little play on it. And, tough 3-game slate. I mean, I guess I'll credit Major League Baseball for doing the right thing. Would have been bonkers if on trade deadline day you had like 12 games going on. So it's nice that they did scale it back. We'll get a lot more going on tomorrow, obviously. But, after I was on the wrong side of the Rays earlier today, I'm on the Reds. We'll see what happens. Like you said, I'd given up. But Seattle first 5 is the way I played this one.
Yeah, they can't make the schedule, Adam, because you lost a couple earlier bets and add more games. Doesn't work that way.
Unfortunately. If only it worked that way, right? That's the gambling gods telling you to take it, like, chill, man. Let's relax a bit.
Yeah, well, people
we got
will cry,
football. Don't worry.
And then at the same time, like the NBA will have trade deadline day and have like 9 games. And people are like, this is so stupid. Why would you have games on the day they're the trade deadline, right? Or the day before? To me, it's the day before almost that it's ridiculous, right? When it's like, yeah, you don't want to play the guy. We're trading him and all that. I mean, all week, guys. I mean, Quan yesterday was waving and guys are talking to fans in the outfield and it's the modern era. They're like, hey, here you're getting traded in an hour here. And he's like, yeah, to who? Or like, the players are talking to fans about the trade deadline.
This is about as active a baseball trade line as I can remember, too. In terms of like big names moving, would have been nice if we got Mackenzie Gore or Joe Ryan, a couple of those guys, but huge, especially, Suarez and Merrill Kelly and some of the other guys that bounced around. Makes the, I say second half, really we're down to like the last third, but makes it a pretty compelling finish down the stretch here.
Mason Miller, too. Shane Bieber to the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Bieber was a surprise. Yeah. Dustin May, we talked about to the Red Sox, just because it's not really a great addition, but more just subtractions for the Dodgers didn't make sense to me. That was kind of weird. But Adam, great job as always.
Yeah. Always fun.
Yeah. We'll do it again soon. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it, man.
All
right, we got to close up shop. How about this one? Golden State beat Washington 68-67. as Golden State scored 6 points in the fourth quarter. They scored 20 points. That's where unders go to die, for sure. Talk to you tomorrow, folks.